The power of a small act of kindness. One sunny afternoon in a bustling New York neighborhood, a young boy named Lucas stood on the corner, clutching a stack of tissue packs in his small hands. At just 10 years old, Lucas had a resilience beyond his years. His worn baseball cap sat snugly on his head, and his sneakers, full of holes and fraying at the edges, carried the weight of his daily hustle. Selling tissues on the sidewalk wasn't just a way to earn pocket money. It was a lifeline to support his family. As the sun reflected off the glass windows of towering buildings, Lucas approached a shiny black luxury car idling at a red light. The driver, a man in a sleek suit named Mr. Anderson, seemed worlds apart from the boy. Lucas hesitated briefly, but summoned his courage, knocking lightly on the window. "Sir, would you like to buy a pack of tissues? They're only $1 each," Lucas asked, his voice polite yet tinged with hope. Mr. Anderson rolled down his window and glanced at the boy. His sharp, professional demeanor softened as he took in Lucas's determined expression. With a warm smile, Mr. Anderson said, "How many do you have?" Lucas looked down at the small bundle in his hands. "I have 10 packs, sir." Mr. Anderson pulled out a crisp $20 bill and handed it to Lucas. "I'll take them all," he said. Lucas's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you sure, sir? That's too much." "Keep the change," Mr. Anderson replied with a kind smile. Grateful beyond words, Lucas thanked him repeatedly, his voice brimming with excitement. As he walked away, there was an extra bounce in his step, his small fortune clutched tightly in his hand. A wishful glance. A few blocks down, Lucas stopped in front of an upscale shoe store. Pressing his face against the sparkling glass, he admired the rows of pristine shoes on display. One pair of brown sneakers, with their smooth leather and thick soles, caught his eye. They were everything he dreamed of, sturdy, comfortable, and perfect for running through the city streets. But when he saw the price tag, $120, his heart sank. He looked down at his own tattered sneakers, his toes nearly poking through the worn fabric. One day, he thought to himself, turning away with a sigh, the $20 he had just earned felt like a fortune, but it was nowhere near enough for those shoes. A silent observer. Unbeknownst to Lucas, Mr. Anderson had been watching from his car. Something about the boy's humble determination struck a chord deep within him. Curious, he parked his car nearby and followed Lucas from a distance, observing the child's wistful gaze at the shoe store. After a moment, Mr. Anderson stepped into the store. The elegant shopkeeper greeted him with practiced charm. "How can I assist you today, sir?" Pointing to the pair of brown sneakers Lucas had admired, Mr. Anderson made a discreet request. "I'd like to cover the cost of these shoes for a boy who's outside, but I don't want him to feel like they're a handout. Can you put up a sign saying there's a special $20 sale for today only?" The shopkeeper, intrigued and moved by the gesture, nodded. "Of course, sir." Minutes later, as Lucas walked away from the store, the shopkeeper taped a bright sign to the window. "Holiday special. All shoes today only. 20. A dream realized. When Lucas passed the store again and noticed the sign, he froze in disbelief. Rubbing his eyes to make sure he wasn't dreaming, he read the words over and over. His heart raced. "I can finally afford those shoes." He rushed into the store and pointed eagerly to the brown sneakers. "Are these really $20? He asked, his voice trembling with excitement. "Yes, they are," the shopkeeper replied with a kind smile. Lucas handed over his carefully folded $20 bill, clutching the shoes as if they were the most precious treasure in the world. He left the store walking taller, his face glowing with pride. For the first time, he felt like he belonged in the world he had always watched from the sidelines. A secret act of kindness. As Lucas disappeared into the crowd, the shopkeeper quietly removed the sale sign and restored the original prices. He glanced outside, catching a glimpse of Mr. Anderson in his car. The two exchanged a brief nod, a silent acknowledgement of the joy they had brought to a little boy's life. The lesson. Lucas returned home that evening, his new shoes a symbol of hope and possibility. He had no idea about the stranger's role in his good fortune. For him, it felt like the universe had smiled upon him for a moment, giving him a reason to believe in brighter days ahead. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson drove away, his heart full. He realized that the true wealth of life lay not in what he owned, but in the moments he could create for others. His small act of kindness had not only changed Lucas's day, it had reminded him of the power of generosity and compassion. This story reminds us that even the smallest acts of kindness can transform lives. A thoughtful gesture, a moment of generosity, or a silent effort to help can create ripples of joy and hope. As we go about our daily lives, let's remember the profound impact we can have on others with just a little thoughtfulness. If you've ever experienced similar stories in your life, don't hesitate to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. We would love to hear your story.